Now we're really quite far along in our model. You can see we've got all the things that pretty much make a set of shelves. I'm just going to go down here and add a door. And just remember that when you add a door, I'm going to put the material thickness in by using those predefined parameters that I created earlier. I'm going to say minus material thickness. And since that's been defined previously as a variable, it's going to be 10 millimeters thick. In the course of making this, I recognized also that the molding go around the front of the shelves was one U-shaped piece, and that's quite large, so I wanted to get rid of that as well. So I went in and used the command split body again and selected that outside U-shaped piece. I used this flat surface here to split it. I would recommend doing this whenever possible because using a miter cut, like some people like to do, is quite expensive and very error prone. It's not a good idea. The next thing you'll notice is that every single one of these parts is actually a body. They're separate bodies, but they all belong to one singular part. And if I go to the bodies folder and now define each one of these bodies as being a separate component, for the very first time, I have a bill of materials that has different parts on it. That's going to be important in just a moment, but for the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and define all of these parts as being made out of MDF. MDF is inexpensive. I can cut it on a normal CNC router, and it's a durable material you can find just about everywhere. So I like to use it on stuff like this. Now, the next thing I'm going to do in this model is I'm going to pattern the shelves. And this is important. The reason I created the components before I patterned the shelves is that I didn't want to have patterns of bodies and then turn those into components. This would have created several different shelves that were all the same but would have had different names. Instead, what I want to have is one shelf that is repeated 3 or 4 times. The difference may seem trivial, but in a manufacturing situation, you want to have a bill of materials that is accurate. And if your shelves are the same, they should have the same name and just repeat 2, 3, or 4 times in your bill of materials. By creating components before patterning the shelves, I can ensure that this is the case and my bill of materials will be accurate. So now that we've got a model that's all ready to be manufactured, we want to prepare it for manufacturing. So we'll go into the manufacturing environment where, under the fabrication tab, we can begin giving the software the information it needs to develop a nesting profile. A nesting profile allows the computer to calculate automatically the best layout for all these pieces of MDF using a library of previously defined pieces of material that you have in your shop. There are a number of options associated with this, but at the end of the day, the software lays the pieces out flat on a plane and ensures that all these fit in one of the pieces of material that you have available to you. These are nicely set up in order for you to create CNC machining profiles, or if you like, as I do here, you can simply export these as a DXF file, which some laser cutters and machines like that tend to read these days. This is a lot of information we've gone through today, talking about building up parametric models using a top-down design philosophy that allows you to make changes based on parameters and a few basic sketches. Any changes made to either of these will propagate through the entire build of the model and even extend into the manufacturing definitions that you've made in order to actually create the shelf. I hope it's been useful for you and that you've learned a lot. Good luck.